Hello friends, Jennifer Pearson here, Thistle Gypsy, with more antihistamine issues. So this is what I'm taking. This is a generic form of, as it says up there, Zyrtec. And part of me just wanted to think, so I had done another video about chlorpheniramine, and so I've been trying different antihistamines. I'm taking, for anybody who's coming on this as my first video, I just have started taking allergy shots. So my number one way of combating allergies at this point, because I didn't want to experiment with a bunch of drugs, was allergy shots. So I just started them. In the process of going off of that, the allergy medicine I'd been taking before I started to get allergy shots, because I didn't have the money to start with the allergy testing and shots until a couple of weeks ago. But I've been having progressive allergy symptoms over the last few years, and they were pretty bad last year and very bad this year, to the point that they were interfering with my ability to do my work. So, taking the dive with allergy shots once again, which I had when I was a teenager, and they worked wonderfully for a good 20-25 years. Kept me free. And so I'm doing that round again. But as they said, the people, my ear, nose, throat, and the allergist said, hey, you know, you should still, because these allergy shots aren't really going to kick in for a while, you should try some of the other allergy medicines that you haven't tried, to see if any of them will work for you in the meantime, because allergy shots are a long-term solution, not only in that they, you know, they work well in the long term, but because it takes a long time of building up, you know, so it could be a couple of years before I really have any symptoms relieved by the allergy shots themselves. So I finally said, okay, so long as I've gotten started on that regimen of allergy shots, I will try some of the other things. Particularly, so going off chlorpheniramine, I felt much better after I went off of it in terms of my energy, and I hadn't realized that it was a semi-sedating antihistamine, and it had never really affected me like that, but I think it had a cumulative effect, and so when I went off of it, I felt quite a bit better, more alert, particularly in the morning. But then, about 2 weeks after being off it, I also had issues with not being able to sleep through the night. I've had interrupted sleep for a long time, but this was like waking up at 3 or 3:30 in the morning and not being able to get back to sleep. And so, you know, getting 3 or 4 hours, I'm used to like 5 hours of sleep or 3 or 4 hours of sleep, and that would hit me in the afternoon pretty hard. So I thought, all right, well, I'm just going to go ahead and try some of these other drugs. So I tried alleve, and alleve made me feel a little weird, and also was doing some funny things with my heart. Was having just little spurts of fluttery rapid beats, and I thought, you know what, I'm not playing with that. I've had issues with that unrelated to alleve, probably related to my Lyme disease, and and haven't had it in a long time. And so when that happened, I took alleve one night. I took one pill. And I thought, you know what, not playing with that one. So I went, the next time I was out, I got what I just showed you, which is the Zyrtec. Thought, alright, this is what I think my doctor said he really liked. Like to recommend to people. And I had to argue with this ear, nose, throat doctor to get, because he just wanted me to try all these drugs before I started on the allergy shots. And I talked him out of that. And in the process of looking up what was standard for people with my symptoms, I found that there's some fishy business in the ear, nose, and throat and the medical profession. And I allowed part of the fishy business, which was a scan of my sinuses, which were clear and had been clear the last time, but it was 5 years ago. And it's fishy because people say that, number one, people who are critical of it, other doctors, what I saw online, that are critical of it, say that even if they find something, that the current treatment of it, which is a form of, well, I'm going to call it a form of nasal surgery, sinus surgery, is really, can be problematic. So, and isn't necessarily necessary. But I did go ahead and I got that, which was, it doesn't appear to be expensive in some ways, but is expensive in others. It depends on your insurance. The actual scan is in fact expensive to me. Even paying, only a portion of it, because insurance covers part of it. So, anyway, but I did that because I'm old. And that's mainly the reason. I'm old, and yes, there could be something going on in my sinuses. Even if there isn't, there could have been, just because I'm old, and things start to happen when you're older. But that was not the case. But I bring that up because, so I take the equivalent of Zyrtec, the generic form, and I don't know if I can say that, cetirizine, hydrochloride. So I take that one night, it works. I slept through the night, and then I couldn't focus during the day. So it is, even though they call them non-sleepy, it's like anything that doesn't hit you like Benadryl. Anything that doesn't hit you as hard as Benadryl is considered non-sedating. But this stuff has interfered with my workday such that the reason I'm here making this video and can make this video is because I just gave up on work. I worked for a while, and I work from home, so I'm not, I don't have that a high demand thing. So I sat at my computer and was trying to do stuff, and my thoughts would not congeal. I felt sedated. I felt mildly sedated. I wouldn't have wanted to get out in my car and drive. And it has lessened, which is again why I'm here. I can do this now. But only about 30 minutes ago, I was at my computer to do my work and was trying to, I could do things like answer emails, but anything that required a task, it's like my mind didn't want to go from step 1 to step 2 and focus on a process. I could do what was straight in front of me, but not much. And so it's like, all right, so I'm not going to do it. So I'm losing money because of this. Now, again, I would say I was starting to think, maybe I'm just sensitive to these drugs used for allergies. But then I went and I was looking online. One of the thing I mentioned about the surgery, and the surgery has to do with in case you have chronic sinus infection. They have ways that they go in that has something to do with surgery. And when I woke up this morning, even though I slept well and wasn't having an itchy nose, the allergy symptoms, it had all kind of clogged up here, and I thought, the first thing I thought, before I realized that I wasn't going to wake up properly, was, all right, so now I've been recommended to go on something, my doctor's favorite thing to put people on, and it feels like it is going to be a precursor to a sinus infection. That's what it felt like. It felt like it was clogging things up here, and it was going to result in a sinus infection if I continued to take it. So there's no way I would have taken it for that, number one. And it does make me kind of paranoid in the sense of, well, you know, if you prescribe this stuff to someone, they're eventually going to end up with a sinus infection. If they're like me, of course, everybody's going to respond differently. And then, you know, you've got your surgery that's going to cost X amount, and that goes to you. And so I started to get kind of paranoid, and I'm not accusing this doctor of that, because people do respond differently to different drugs, and apparently this drug does work well for some people. But what I found online was something I will not experience because I won't be taking this drug anymore, that there's a considerable number of people who are actually willing to be part of a class action suit because they took this drug for either a couple of years or several years, and then they had to go off it for some reason. One person, I think this was on consumeraffairs.com, I'm not 100% sure of that, but one person was coming off for an allergy test, which is what, you know, what you have to do before you take an allergy test, is you have to go off of your antihistamine so they can get an accurate reading. And so many testimonials that when they went off of this chemical, they had rashes and hives and insane itching, you know. And this one gal talks about how she, you know, giving guidance to others about how she had to taper off of it so she wouldn't have the insane itching. And it's like, oh my God. And I started to think, well, maybe my insomnia, no longer would I call it simply interrupted sleep. To me, that's insomnia, to wake up such a short time after going to bed and then not being able to sleep. Is actually part of a withdrawal. Maybe that 2 weeks where I felt okay off the chlorpheniramine was just the beginning. I don't know. But I'm not doing this stuff anymore, and I'm not sure if I will. I think Zyrtec is the next one on the list as a potential, and I don't know if I'll even do that, because these things just affect me really strangely, and apparently it's saving me from something worse on down the road, so I should just be happy. But I wanted to put this out there because I'm a little blown away that something so, well, over the counter and so commonly used as allergy medicine, you know, many people suffer from allergies, seasonal allergies, whatever, you know, that it's not more widely known that you can have some pretty strange reactions, and that these things that are supposed to be non-drowsy are still potentially sedating and create strange things happening in your head, like that inability to concentrate, inability to kind of move forward in steps that I was experiencing. And it's like, so there it is. More ranting about antihistamines, and be careful out there. Be careful out there. Bye-bye.